Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday. It's May 5th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And as you're probably seeing, this is up a little bit early today. It's going to be a little shorter for sure. If you didn't watch yesterday's video, just so you know what's going on, I have to leave early today. Today is my daughter's graduation, and they're they're having some. It's kind of unique because of the social distancing thing. So uh, basically she's graduating today, getting her diploma, and then we're going to have a little family cookout and so forth. So I got to get out of here, and I won't be able to come back because afterwards we'll be having the little family thing. So inviting a few of her friends over to eat dinner as well. So we're doing some real good social distancing there. Don't tell anybody. We'll probably have more than 10 people there. I think that's the rule in our area. We're not supposed to have more than 10 people. I think we're going to have 12 or 13, but don't tell anybody. So anyway, moving on to different things here. As you'll see, this trading results I've got up here. I wanted to read first a couple of emails. I wanted to read this one. The gentleman that sent me this particular performance here, it says, "Hey Mac, just a quick thank you note. I know it's still super early in my journey, but the last 3 days have been magical. I bought your manual 3 weeks ago, read it over and over, at least 5 times, obsessed over your YouTube videos for the last 4 to 5 weeks before I bought the manual, and been watching charts every second I can when I'm not working on my regular job. I have no trading prior experience, and here it comes again. But since I have a fairly good amount saved up, I went ahead and went live on the MES just to get a little taste of what it would feel like with real money. Yeah, I know you don't recommend this, and no, I don't, but that's okay. But I've mentally prepared myself to blow a small account, as I'm sure it will eventually happen this early on, so that's okay. But yeah, I usually tell people double or triple a sim account first. Practice all you can first, but at least he went with the EMS. It's not much money, so if you got to go live, that's the way to do it. But I still prefer that people save their trading capital. If you've got plenty of money and you're not worried about blowing a $1,000 account, then go to the EMS if you want. But I still think you're better off to sim trade and get as much free trading as you can, and save that trading capital for when you really need it. But anyway, moving on. Regardless, can't thank you enough. Since last Thursday, the 30th, I've taken 7 trades, all just one contract each on the MES, and I've hit all 7 for a 1-point scalp. If I can double this small account, I'll increase to 2 contracts. If I blow the count, I'll go back to sim until I can double a 10K sim account, like you said through all your videos. Anyway, sorry for rambling on, but I'm just beyond thankful I came across this. Is searching through all of the noise. Get rich quick dudes, gurus was getting exhausting. I know there's still a lot to learn, just letting you get a glimpse of the light. Wait, let me back that up. I know there's still much to learn, but just getting a glimpse of the light was a beautiful thing. Take care." So anyway, I wanted to read that. I always like to show you positive results. And it just seems like the people that come in here without all the baggage from learning the wrong things in the past really make a difference, because this is the second one I've had in the last week or so that came in with no previous trading experience. And then on the other hand, I get emails from people. Like I sent an email to a lady today, and I don't know, she may not have seen it, and she may not even see this video, but it was a fairly long response. But basically, she's got all these indicators on her chart, and she's trying to, she's got reasons in her mind why she thinks she needs these indicators. But I can promise you, you're just if you're trying to take something you've already learned and add what we do to it, you're probably going to end as a failure. You need to really go at this with a blank slate. Clear the slate, forget everything you've learned before. Try this, just try it. If it doesn't work, and that's the other thing, most people will try this for a week or two and they give up and say this doesn't work, and they move on. And really what you have to understand is that you're basically learning a new language. This chart speaks a written language. It's a written language, and it speaks to you, and it tells you what prices tell you what they're doing, where they're going, where they're headed. It's all there on that chart. You just have to learn to see it. You have to learn to hear what the chart's telling you. And it's just like the analogy I like to use is just like if you're an English speaker and you don't know Russian, and you walk into a room full of Russian people, and they're all speaking Russian, and you're going to try to do business with those people. How successful do you think you're going to be in selling them something or getting them to go into a business deal with you when you can't even understand what they're saying and they don't have a clue what you're saying? Then you got the culture thing too. You know, some things that is considered great in one culture is an insult in another culture. So you got to learn the culture too. So it's not only learning a language, but it's learning a language and a culture. And so learning to read this chart is just like that. You're doing business with a bunch of people that are speaking a language that you're not fluent in. You probably don't even understand the first word of it if you're new to this. But if you sit there and you learn how to read that chart, and you learn that language, and then you learn the culture of that market, then you're going to start to see some success. But you got to be fluent at it, because there's a handful of them that are very fluent at it, and they'll take advantage of you. Just like if you went and tried to do business with foreigners and not being able to speak their language, not understanding their culture, you're probably going to get taken advantage of. And that's what happens to traders. They come in, they open up a chart that they have and they just start throwing darts at it. Most people think that they can just find the second entries. And if you do find the second entries with the trend, you're probably going to improve your trading 100%. But it's not good enough. You're still going to have losers until you learn to read the context and understand what prices are doing and where they're headed and where their next target is. And once you can learn that, this gets so much easier. And once you do learn that, you'll understand what I mean when I tell you everything else you've learned is hogwash. It's junk. Indicators and all these crazy special software that people derive, none of that's going to work long term. They're just taking your money. And you're just wasting your time, and you're a donator. You're going to donate your money to traders that can read the chart, that understand the language the chart. They understand the language and culture the chart speaks. So anyway, I don't have time for a lot of soapbox stuff today, but I just felt like it was time to say that again. I'm going to read one more email. Let me pause it. Hey Mac, everything is going beyond great. LOL. I don't want to jinx myself. Just going by the rules that you give on the second entries is a fantastic way to trade. Today was like an ATM machine. Trading with the trend at key entry points is so simple yet so overlooked by traders. I mean, this guy's getting it already. Just sitting and waiting for them is so much less stressful. You just know if you're in a trend and you're at the key entry point, it's going to work. Of course, you can't be 100%, but so far I've had 2 losing trades. I can't really thank you enough. He goes on and says a few other things there, but it's not really pertinent to what we're doing. But here's a guy that's just being patient. He's finding the key entry points, waiting on prices to come back, and then waiting on the second entry, and he's having success. So he doesn't say what his win percentage is, but he says he has 2 losses. So I don't know how many wins he had. He doesn't really say, but obviously he's pretty excited. Something's going good for him. So, but the main thing I wanted you to take away from that email was the fact that how much simpler it seems to him just waiting on prices to come to where he's expecting something to happen and then waiting on it to happen and jumping on. It's like clockwork when you can do that. So I just wanted to read that to reinforce further. You don't just run up and down this chart looking for entries. You're looking for the entries at certain places. You're waiting on prices to come back to them. And when you get a setup at those places, that's when you want to take it. Most people are just following this thing, in every bar they're looking for an entry. And if you're doing that, you're going to overtrade and you're going to have tons of losses. But if you just wait on prices, look at this trend line. This was an fairly easy to find trend channel. And if you just waited, you didn't get a lot of chances here off this trend line. But if you just followed the support resistance, which is most of your trades today, you got a short here, you had two longs, two more longs, a couple more longs off the trend line up here. There's not a whole lot because I'm doing this early too. So really, I stopped marking trades here right at lunchtime, and there's been a couple more here since then. But I'm only going to go through the ones through noon today because I don't have time. I got to wrap this up. But I'm going to back out and show you the big picture here. You can see there's a two-tiered channel working higher. And within that, there's a spiking channel, then a correction, and then another little spiking channel here. So then we had a little channel down, went sideways again. There's just like usual, there's a lot of little small ranges in here too. So, but I'm going to back out, show you the setups I saw that look good. And this is what's really hard. Notice we had a trade here at about a little after 7 o'clock, and then we didn't really have another really good setup till 8:30, after 8:30. So you had to sit there for an hour and a half. And that's where traders struggle, because I guarantee there's a bunch of you watching that entered all through here in the wrong direction, had a bunch of losers. There's just no good setup there. You might have taken one right in here if you had a good setup. I didn't really get a good setup here. Notice there's a new high and you come back first entry. And when it broke higher here, there is a second entry. But this is really my signal bar. And you could have entered right here, assuming that this is off the low of the range and it is the key entry point. It is the EMA. It is the second entry when it broke higher there. So you might use that for a signal bar. I didn't mark it, but that's a possibility. But otherwise, you had to sit there all that time. Then you got another one real quickly, and that was at about 8:45 my time. And then you didn't have another one till 9:15 or so. And you didn't have another one till 9:30. So about 15 minutes between trades there, 15 or 20 minutes. And most people can't sit there and do that. They're too busy looking for entries and just throwing darts at a board. And if you're throwing darts at a board, you're going to have a lot of losing trades. It just doesn't work like that. And you're going to overtrade, and you're going to have a lot of losers. So anyway, let's get through these trades real quickly. But notice, let me back out again. Notice we had one leg up. And so you want to measure this and get an idea about where your target's going to be. And somebody said something in a video yesterday about what good does it do to know these measured legs, because it gives you a target. So if you're going long in here and you haven't reached that target, you know that prices still have room to go. This is one of them where we went much further. Notice we didn't go much further before we had a fairly long correction, and then we kind of started over again, and we corrected really from 9 o'clock to, I would say the uptrend started again right here at 9:45. So we corrected about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. So, but knowing where that target is, it gives you know that you're probably still okay going long in here. Once you get past that, then we start correcting, you know you're okay. Well, maybe I'm okay to take a short up here. So if you don't understand that, you don't understand the very basis of what we're trying to do here. There's a thing called market geometry. The market moves in equal distance, and it moves in twos. And if you can learn to spot those, it really helps your trading. So, but anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent either, but somebody brought that up and I thought it was worth mentioning. But notice how we spiked up and went into this channel right here this morning. And we're moving up, and then we came off the upper side, and we're just kind of going sideways here. Look how far away we are from the EMA, but we're really in a little tight congestion area here. I like this one just because you're off the high and you tried to go higher 3 times and you failed each time, and you got a nice bearish reversal bar with plenty of room back to the EMA. And so I like going short there. It turns out we ended up just in a range here. At this point, it just looks like resistance trying to keep you from going higher. But it turns out we just kind of work across a range. So I don't really get any other entries. You might have considered even going short right here on a failed breakout, but your signal bar is too bullish, so you can't enter there. Then you're back in the range, and you might take this long here. There's not much room back to that high right there. Although we have already broken out, this is the key entry point. It's a midline on the bigger pattern. It's a trend line here. You got the EMA. You got this support. So you got multiple convergence right there. So there's a good chance we're going higher. So if you get a good setup here, by all means take it. I marked this one green. I originally wasn't even going to mark it, but you might have, everybody's chart may not look quite like mine here. You might have had a good setup. And so you definitely want to take that entry there if you get a good setup. Then we just run up and start doing the same thing again, running sideways. And notice how we get a little failed break out the low side. You got enough room to get out there, go long. And notice what it does. It runs back up to the top and turns back down again. And guess what? You get another, there's a little red in there, but that bar is mostly bullish, plenty of room. Just go long there. And guess what? This time it takes off. Just like it did here. It's kind of like a little repeat pattern. And off it goes. So that was a great entry. You could have had a runner there. You could have had a runner here. Then we run up here to the high side and we turn down. Just is what you expect to happen. And notice how we push through the midline, pull back, and you test that trend line right there. Of course, you may not have had that trend line because it takes a little skill to draw that. Either way, there's a shorter term one. Let me just show you this. There's a little shorter term trend working down right there, and that's the first break. And you're expecting prices to come back to here at a minimum. And that's, and so we turn down there. But I like that one because it's off the key entry point. There's also a little resistance right there. And we tested that once, twice, 3 times. It's like a little double test then. It's a failed second. It's really a failed third entry because we got a little blip up right there, but that's still one move. And so you can treat that like a failed second entry long as well. There's several different reasons to like that trade. I did mark it green just because you're going short in an uptrend. But if you understand what the chart's telling you here, and you know where prices are probably headed, which at this point you would be just looking for prices. I don't know why I can't get that line right, but you'd just be looking for prices to come back for this trend line. And notice they do. We end up going lower back to this original midline. But notice you got this channel working down. You get the overshoot. What does that tell you? Hey, we're probably going to have a break on the other side soon, and you actually get 2 legs up. If you had a good setup here, you might go short. This bar is too bullish, and that's where your second entry really triggered on this one. They do have matching highs, but this bar is so big you don't want to go short right into the lows. So you do get a lower high, but same thing right there. You're going short right into a triple bottom, so it's just too dangerous to go short there, really. And look what happens. It pushes down and it fails, and you actually get a chance to go long. So this is played out, and you get this turn back down. It goes short first and turns and goes out the other side like going long there. You come back and you test that again. Now you made the low. You test it once. You test it twice. And there's a little hidden second entry in there as well. And that's a nice bullish bar right off of support. And you got a little room back to the EMA. You're just looking for a scalp here. But hey, prices could go higher. And if you took this, you get a runner here and you're back in business to the upside. Notice how we found resistance there. So you can tell we're in a little range here. And then you get a breakout. I marked this one it's just basically a failed breakout. We're looking for prices just to pull back and test this, probably just a scalp, but hey, we could be headed back down to here. So it's worth, but we're just looking for a scalp. And you'd probably try to get a runner on this one. Doesn't end up happening. And you get a lower high here, as long as you still got room there, because that's going to be a little trap. It broke higher right there. You might trap some longs. It didn't really react like it was a strong trap, because it probably would have shot lower. So, but I still like a possibility of going short right there if you've got enough room to get out before getting back here, because that's where we're coming back to test that. And then if we go higher from there, if you get a setup, maybe you go long. You don't really get one on my chart. And then we run up. And notice I just measured that distance. Actually, I originally had it down here. I measured that distance. Like so, then you drag it up. And that's exactly where it goes to. Perfect measured move. It keeps going higher, but of course that would have been that's how you find these targets. You probably expect a correction right there. And again, you just start chopping sideways, but notice that resistance is acting as support. You tested it once, twice, 3 times, another bullish bar. Just go long right there. I didn't make that one green just simply because there's a lot, you're right into the highs right there. There's not a lot of room, but you are off a possible key entry point. You did get a triple test, but it could tick up and turn back down. So you got to be a little bit leery of that, but the trend is up and it's up fairly strongly. So if you're going to break out successfully, you're probably going to go to the upside. So you might want to risk that one, but again, I made it green for that reason. Then you're coming back and you just come back to the trend line one more time. And you get a little entry right here. It's a little first entry, second entry. It's an inside bar, but they're all matching. It's a real small bar, very low risk, right at the key entry point, plenty of room to get out. So I like that one too. Notice what it did. It barely broke higher and it pulls back again, but you got a little bit of a possible close outside and then another one, and then it's not long till it reverses. I don't think you want to go short right in here, not into that midline. There is a lower high here. There's a second entry short right here. If you had a good signal bar, notice that low, first entry, second entry, and that's the first break of that little trend line. So if you had a good entry right there, a good signal bar, you could go short. Mine's not very good, but I do get a lower high that's a little better, but it's still not perfect, and it's still, there's enough room to get out between here and here, but it's still close, so I marked it in green. And again, I didn't mark anything after that, but it looks like we're going to spike up and go into maybe another little channel here. Let me show you how a lot of times it's kind of unclear where to draw your trend line off the lows there, but just draw it right up through here off this side. Copy it, drag it over, and there's a good chance that's going to be your trend line if there's a trend that continues to work higher right here. So that's a little secret of how to do it. If it's unclear on the trend side, or if you've got a lot of price action to find your trend on this side and you don't have much on this side yet, then draw it over here and drag it over. And a lot of times that'll work. And you see prices bounced right off that line. And people will tell you can't do that. The trend lines are subjective. These trend lines are not subjective. It's a skill. It's just like trading. It's a skill, and you can learn it, and you either got it or you don't. I show this every day, and people still say doesn't work, whatever. But anyway, I hope that was helpful for you today. Hey, I kept it under 25 minutes here. If I could hurry up and wrap this up. So no, I'm not going to quite make it, but I'm close. Definitely under 30 minutes. This is more like it. This is what I'd like to keep it at. But I'm going to wrap it up so I can get out of here on time. I still got a ton of emails that need reading that people are asking me questions, and I'm just not going to get to them today. And that means I'm going to be doubly behind tomorrow. So if you've got an email out there, anything that's critical, I've tried to answer it. But if you got trading questions and you're not getting an answer, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just way behind, and I can't help it, unfortunately. So they just keep stacking up. They keep coming and coming. There's no end to them. So, and I try to answer them all as best I can. So, I would ask you, try to keep your questions specific and to the point for one or two issues. A lot of you are sending me your charts and saying, hey, look at my chart, and I open it up and there's 10 trades and 100 comments on it, and I really just don't have time to answer to do a chart study for you. It's just too much. So pick out a couple of trades that you had a question about, or a couple of trades you were concerned about, or did you do it right, or what was wrong, or and try to make your questions specific and keep it to one or two trades at a time at the most, preferably just one trade. But if you got a couple in the day and you want to send me your chart, but generally wait on the chart. If you can, wait on the chart lesson, because I'm probably going to go over a lot of this stuff. And then if you still don't get it answered, send me an email. But it would help me if you at least keep it to one or two questions, and real specific questions, and not just a general chart review, because honestly, it's just so much, it takes so much time, and then sometimes trying to figure out and read the little tiny comments on the chart and so forth, it just makes it hard for me. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up before I'm over 30 minutes here. We'll be back again tomorrow. I'll be back on schedule tomorrow. I'm behind on the emails again, but I'll get to them as soon as I can. But I'm done for today. Hope you had a great trading day. Hope the rest of the day goes well for you. It's almost over anyway. But this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.